So I'm already 10.2 miles into the ride. We'll get into that in a couple minutes. Just letting you know where I'm starting from. And we're gonna mount the camera here real quick. I didn't record the first half because, you know, there's really nothing to record. Oops. How's it going? I'm doing okay. Hey, puppy. I'm wondering if the dude in the wheelchair is homeless. Because the back of his wheelchair has a suitcase strapped to it. Like he has all of his belongings with him. So, anywho, yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since I've ridden. There's a reason for that, and I will explain that here in a second. But we were heading back south. You guys have all seen this before. Today is November 10th, I think. Yeah, November 10th, 2025. We are past daylight savings, which happened, what, a week ago. As you can see, the sun is hanging low in the sky, but it is only 1:42 in the afternoon. So yeah, I did the first half of this ride. I used that as a turnaround point because I was at 10.2 miles because I just wanted the exercise. So I wanted to pedal the bike as much as possible. I did kick it into pedal assist to get up a steep hill and then to get up another, not terribly steep, but elongated hill, you know, just give me the pedal assist. So, but I kept it in pedal assist 0 for probably 10 of those 10.2 miles. And I'm in pedal assist 0 right now, which is why we're going so slow. I'm doing approximately 10 miles per hour right now. But this is a slight uphill right here, so that's why. So let's see. The week before last, or since the last time I rode, it had either been extremely windy or very cold. And what do I mean by that? Well, there were a few days where the wind was in the 25 to 30 mile per hour range, which isn't terrible, but it's more than I want to pedal through. And then there were a few days here and there where it was just cold. Like right now I'm in a t-shirt and shorts, just kind of like the guy in front of me here. But it was so cold for a few days there that just being outside with the breeze was enough to chill you to your bones. And I didn't want to ride in that. Then, a week ago, last Thursday, I had an appointment at the VA, and then my friend wanted to drive to North Carolina. We had already planned on it, so I got to his house about 4 p.m., and we jumped on the road and we drove to North Carolina. And that is its whole other story, which I will get into. I just hope I have time, because there was a lot. Nothing bad happened, other than, you know, my perception of this guy changed drastically. Alright, so I'm going to put it in S pedal assist 1. I don't even feel the motor engage. Pedal assist 2, there we go. Little engagement. So yeah, and then we got back last Wednesday about 8 p.m. And then, sorry, I was looking at that dude's shirt. It had the Air Force logo on it. Or that thing that looks like a wings of a bird that you see on all the Air Force stuff. Anywho, so yeah, we went to North Carolina. We got back last Wednesday night, and then last Thursday and Friday were chilly and a little breezy. Not terribly, just chillier and breezier. Last Saturday and Sunday didn't get out of the 40s. And while it wasn't breezy, it was cold. So, well, cold enough that I didn't want to go for a ride. Or a bicycle ride, anyway. I don't have any cold weather bicycle gear. So, no windbreakers, no nothing. No gloves. So, yeah. But today, tomorrow, the next day are all supposed to be around the same temperature, right around 70 degrees. I'm hoping to get a couple of rides in each day, or a ride in each day. I started to say a couple of rides in this week. But I'm hoping to get a ride in each day and go from there. So, that being said, drive to North Carolina. Whew. Now, this is a guy that I've known for about 5 years, 5.5 years. Met his wife during COVID on this very trail, but about 10 miles south of here. She was out walking her dog, much like this guy's doing. Hi, puppy. What's up? And then I was just out walking to walk and ended up meeting his wife. We met a couple of times on the trail like that. And then fast forward. Oops. She asked me to swing by her house, and that's when I ended up meeting her husband. And he and I ended up becoming friends, maybe even friendlier than she and I are, because, he was living in a house with his wife and his daughter, and his wife nor he worked. I mean, they both get little jobs here and there, but neither one of them had like a full-time, this is what pays my bills job. So I think he was just, craving male time. So when he came up to me a couple months ago and he said, hey, if we end up buying his house, or about a month ago now, but they had already been looking in the southeast of the United States because they wanted to be somewhere near the beach, but they also wanted to be somewhere relatively warm. So he had asked me, like, if we buy a house, will you drive a truck out there with me to bring furniture out? And I was like, yeah, sure, I don't care. So, and he's like, yeah, he goes, because you've done long distance drives before, which I have. I've driven across this country numerous times. And he goes, I haven't done anything like that, so I don't even know like how to or anything. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. We can do it. He goes, yeah. He's like, this is how he tells me. He goes, I think between the two of us, we should be able to get there in 2 days. I said, yeah, if we're just driving, taking turns napping in the truck, absolutely. He goes, oh, no. We're going to stop every night, probably around 6 or 8 o'clock, and we'll get a hotel room and, we'll relax and stuff so that we're not, stressed out and struggling on the drive. And I was like, oh, that's nice, because when I travel, I rarely ever stay in a hotel. I'll pull over in a rest stop or national park or a state park, rent a place and just sleep in the truck, or if I bring my trailer with me, sleep in the trailer. It's never been anything where I, went out of my way to stay in hotels. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a plan. So he wanted to get on the road as soon as I was available. I said, well, I have an appointment at the VA at 2:30, so figure a half-hour appointment plus if they send me to the pharmacy, or if I have to go get imaging or something, or get fluids drawn or whatever, then, add some time to it. He goes, so what time do you think you'll be done? And I said, I don't know. That's why I'm telling you what may happen. Because it could be a half an hour and nothing else happens, or it could end up being an hour and a half or 2 hours, depending on, lines and everything with the pharmacy or with imaging or with, I forget the name of the section where they draw the fluids. We'll just call it the vampire room, because it's just a bunch of bloodsuckers. And I tell them that too. I'm like, you guys are just a bunch of bloodsuckers. They're like, oh my god, that's hilarious. I'm like, yeah, you're vampires. They're like, yeah, it's hilarious, isn't it? And I'm like, okay. Anywho, I came from across that bridge that we just passed, so I'm taking a slightly different way back just because. So yeah, I get to their house about 4:30 maybe, and I was like, well, do you want to leave now? Or do you want to leave like in the morning? We can leave at 6 a.m. It doesn't matter. I wake up early anyway. We get on the road and have a full day of driving ahead of us. And he goes, no, let's leave now. He's so excited. He's, just like a giddy kid. He's so excited to get out of Colorado, get rid of their house here, and start anew somewhere else. And he has been since they bought this house a few weeks ago, and packing his house up and blah, blah, blah. So I knew it, and he's like, as long as you're okay with the Grateful Dead. And I said, yeah, I mean, I don't mind them, but I don't need to hear them all day, every day. And he looked like I smacked him. Like, what do you mean? You can't listen to the Grateful Dead all day, every day? And I'm like, I don't listen to any genre of music or any band all day, every day. I change it up every day at the gym. I listen to a different kind of music. This morning it was female pop stars of the late 90s, early 2000s. Yesterday at the... Oh, no, I didn't go to the gym yesterday. Saturday at the gym, it was... Was it Saturday at the gym? I think it was hip-hop of the 2010s. And sometimes it's, like rock of the 80s, or, oldies rock from the 60s and 70s. Sometimes it's blues. Sometimes it's, whatever. I change it up all the time. I don't like to listen to the same thing every day. So we get in the truck. I'm driving because he doesn't feel comfortable driving this 26-foot long truck that he rented. And it's been a long time since I've driven anything that big, but I've driven stuff that big and bigger before, so it didn't really bother me. And I only mentioned the 26-foot because, as I'm going to tell you in a minute, he mentioned it about 300 times on this trip. Oh my gosh. It's like it was a badge of honor, or he was looking for some sort of accolades for renting a truck and, that big and driving it across the country. And I'm like, dude, you're doing what thousands of people do every year. You're not special. But so we start driving, get out to the we take one of the state highways out to the interstate so we can avoid rush hour traffic. Hook up with the interstate outside of Lyman, Colorado, and then we just head east. And we end up renting a hotel in Hays, Kansas. Now, it was called the American, Americinn, like America Inn. And it was okay. I mean, it was, what I would call a 3-star hotel. It met my criteria for, hotels when I'm traveling by myself, which is, do the doors lock, is the water hot, and are the sheets clean? That's all I really care about. So I knew he was a snorer to the point where him and his wife slept in separate rooms and sometimes separate floors because of how bad he snores. And I learned firsthand how bad he snores. I barely slept that night because, keep in mind, we didn't stop until midnight because he wanted to get as far as we could. And I'm like, well, at this point, we're going to be paying for a room that we're only going to spend like 6 hours in. He's like, yeah, that's fine. And I'm like, okay, well, it's your money. I mean, if you don't want to maximize your returns, that's on you. So we get up the next morning, go have some breakfast, and the breakfast thing, come back, shower, change, pack up the suitcase, and then load the truck up and leave. So we drive through Kansas, drive through Missouri, you know, past St. Louis, because he's never seen the St. Louis Arch, so we passed St. Louis. I actually had every intention of taking the interstate, because it'll go right in front of the arch, so you get pretty close to it. But I made the wrong turn. I followed a sign and ended up taking the North Bridge across the river into Illinois. So kind of cheated him out of that. But we still saw the arch. It just wasn't as close as I was hoping to get. But he was freaking out because we were on I-70 in St. Louis, and you could see all the old neighborhoods that were burnt down or missing windows, and all the graffiti and all the tarps over roofs, and, you know, stacks of garbage and piles of, you know, broken down cars everywhere. And he's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, you can't stop. You can't stop. Oh my God, this is dangerous. You can't stop here. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. I'm like, dude, relax. Hey, puppies. Yeah, you'll be fine. We're not first of all, I had no intention of stopping. Second of all, you know, it's not that bad. You're looking at decades of ruination. This didn't happen last year. So, yeah, so we crossed, you know, the river. And I felt bad because he's like trying to take video, like he wants to share it with his family and stuff. But he is such a horrible videographer. Oh my gosh, horrible. He's moving the camera way too fast. He's jerky with it. And then, how do I say this politely? I don't want to say his grasp of reality is askew, but he said certain things about this drive, like we'll stop every day at 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there, check into a hotel room, spend the night, relax, so that we're ready to get up and drive the next morning. And I was like, okay, cool. But then every night, he didn't want to stop driving until 11 or 12 o'clock. And I'm like, dude, what happened to, we're going to take it easy. We're going to stop at hotels. We're going to, you know, relax and blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, I just want to get there. And I'm like, that's fine, but that's not what you told me. So that was the first time, or the first thing that he changed on me. To the point where even he, as we got closer, he called the movers. He hired local movers to unload the truck, so we didn't have to. I'm a disabled veteran. I have back, shoulder, and hip issues. I can't sit there and lift a bunch of stuff. So he hired a local little moving crew, and they were supposed to meet us there at 2. Well, the day before we even get into the state, he calls them up and he says, hey, it looks like we're going to be there early. Have them meet us at noon. And I'm like, okay. So when we talked about, like an hour ago, we talked about how early it looks like we were going to get there, barring any accidents or anything. We said we were going to have plenty of time to chill and relax. And so that's changing because you're moving up there, the guys showing up. And then as we even got closer, he called them up. As we're like 2 hours away, he actually called them up and said, hey, looks like we're going to be earlier than we thought. Can you guys show up even earlier? And I'm like, dude, what happened to show up and relax a little bit before the movers get there? But whatever. He was paying the movers. If he wanted to pay them to show up early, he could pay them to show up early or whatever. It didn't matter. But the whole drive over, he's on conversation. He's constantly calling people or taking calls. Whoop, on your left. And, which I don't care, except he took every single call, even conference calls, on speakerphone. Not headset, and he had a headset with him, but speakerphone. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to listen to your stuff. Like, it's none of my business about your personal calls or your, I'll say work calls. I'm using air quotes you can't see, because he doesn't work so much as he's very involved with a number of nonprofits, and he doesn't get paid, but they do ask him to be involved with a lot of their senior leadership meetings so that he can throw his 2 cents in. So every single person he called, every single person who called him, every single conference call, he was like, oh yeah, I'm in a 26-foot truck moving to North Carolina. I'm in a 26-foot truck. Yeah, driving across country. Oh, I'm driving a 26-foot truck through Kansas right now, through Missouri, through Illinois. Yeah, we're in Western Tennessee driving a 26-foot long truck. Every single person he spoke to, he did that with. That's why I said, like, he said this 100 times, easily. Not, hey, I'm driving across country with a truckload of stuff. It was a 26-foot long truck. 26-foot long truck. Like he could not believe he had a 26-foot long truck full of stuff. So, fast forward, or not even fast forward, but, we're driving along. We stopped the first night at 11, the second night at like 10:30, or no, the first night at midnight, the second night at like 11 by the time we get to the hotel, 11:30 by the time we're checked in. And that's when I realized, oh shoot, my bathroom bag is gone. The bag that has my toothbrush and my razor and my soap and my, everything. And I'm looking everywhere. It's not in my suitcase. I look in it. I tear everything out of my suitcase, thinking maybe I accidentally stuffed it under a pair of jeans or an extra pair of shoes or something. Nope, nothing. Just do not have it. So I call the hotel that we stayed in the night before in Kansas, and they're like, oh, nobody's turned in a bag. I'm like, well, I either left it hanging from the shower rod, or I left it on the bed. I'm assuming somebody's cleaned the room by now, so it has to be, it has to be there, because there's nowhere else it could be. Like, we literally put the suitcases in the back of the moving truck, and it didn't get open again until we stopped for the night, and it wasn't with me, so it had to be in the hotel somewhere. They're like, nope, no record of anything like that reported, no lost and found, no nothing. And I'm like, okay. They're like, you can call back and talk to somebody tomorrow daytime if you want to. And I was like, I will. And I did. And I got somebody else, and he told me the same thing. Nope, nobody's turned it in. I said, so you're trying to tell me somebody stole it? He's like, no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it had to be turned in, or it hadn't been turned in. None of the staff had found it. And I'm like, dude, I need this bag. I mean, I don't care about the bag. The bag was like $12. Shampoo can be replaced, shaving cream can be replaced, but the toothbrush was like $90. It was one of those Oral-B extra special, toothbrushes. And I had extra heads in there, because I always keep extras with me in case. And so that was another, let's say, I think there were 3 extra heads in there, so that was extra, say $25, because they love their heads. And I had a razor in there. The razor I bought for $100. It was like 96 and some change before taxes, and then after taxes it was like 107 or whatever. And I'd only had that razor for January, would have been 2 years. So not even 2 years. And I had extra razor blades in there because it was a safety razor. Hey, puppies. So yeah, really not happy about losing, over $200 worth of stuff, and the hotel not even, I don't know if cleaning staff stole it, said, oh, this is nothing, just throw it in the trash can, or hey, here's a expensive toothbrush and a razor, blah blah blah. These guys didn't leave a tip, and I'll get on that too. So we'll just take this or whatever. I don't know what happened. I just know that I was able to take a shower that morning, but that evening when we stopped at the hotel, I did not have a different hotel. I did not have it, and the back of the truck was locked, shut and locked the entire drive. We didn't get back there for anything else. So the the guy's like, yeah. He goes, well, you can call back and talk to the GM if you'd like. And I was like, yeah, I think I will, because this is kind of BS. There's no other place it could be. So yeah, you know, we wake up. He actually got a suite room that night. A room, you know, the kind of room that has like a separate bedroom and then a little living area, because I had complained about the snoring. And he was on the phone. One of the conversations he had was with his mom, and his mom's in her 80s, and she's like, yeah, he was complaining about my snoring. And she's like, get 2 rooms. Get 2 rooms. You don't need your friend who's helping you to be tired while he's driving the truck. Get 2 rooms. So he settled and got a suite, which was fine. I mean, once I shut the door, I didn't hear him at all. So that actually worked out pretty well. But I noticed, so again, this guy and his wife have 7 figures in the bank. Well, minus the money they just spent on this new house until they pay themselves back with the sale of their current house. But let's still say, you know, $700,000 in the bank. And I noticed at no point, there's a deer over here, we're gonna point towards it. I don't know if you can see it very well. He's right there. Oops, right there. Getting a drink of water. Hi, dear. I'm just watching your drink, that's all. So, I noticed the first night he didn't leave a tip for the cleaning staff. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of times when I travel by myself that I might not leave a big tip. I'll leave whatever cash I have in my pocket, you know, maybe up to $5 or $10 bill. But when I'm traveling by myself, I don't make a big mess, especially if I'm just spending one single night. You know, I use the sheets, sure. And I take a shower. That's basically it. I don't leave a lot of garbage. I don't dirty the place up. I don't unpack and, you know, make it my home for the day. I know some people do that. I don't get it, but sure. But I noticed he didn't leave a tip. And the second night, I noticed, because we shared a room, he didn't leave a tip that night either. And it was kind of bothering me because, you know, there's 2 of us using the room. We're both taking showers. He used the fold-out bed on the couch in the suite, but he didn't put the fold-out bed away. Like he didn't do any. He made no effort to clean up after himself, treating it more like somebody's going to come in here and clean it anyway. Which I almost get, but still, clean up after yourself. How hard is that to do? You know, just because they do have staff that does that doesn't mean that you have to make that staff work harder than they should. So, the third night, oops, hi, hey puppy. The third night we stayed in, I want to say South Carolina. Maybe South Carolina? Yeah. And we stayed at the Hilton something or another. I forget what the name of the hotel was, but it was a Hilton hotel. And we actually got 2 rooms in each. And they were actually very nice because they didn't have a suite. Because again, you know, we stopped at 10 o'clock at night and then he decided he was hungry. So we had to go somewhere for him to eat first. And then while we're eating, well, while he's eating, because I didn't get anything, he's looking at nearby hotels and most of them are booked up. So we find the one hotel and we get the 2 rooms, and we, you know, go about our way. So even though we didn't get to the hotel room until, like I said, about 11:30 at night. You know, and all I did was literally crawl in the bed, watch a little bit of TV, fell asleep at about 1, woke up about 7:30 the next morning. He's already texting me, we need to get on the road, we need to get on the road. I told the guys to meet us a couple hours earlier, we need to get on the road. And I'm like, dude, we literally just discussed yesterday about how we didn't have to be in a hurry because we only had like a 3-hour drive left. Even at them showing up at noon and not 2, we still had plenty of time. I don't understand what the fuss is. But he was like freaking out. So we got on the road. I actually just ignored all of his calls and text messages. I got up at my own time, took a shower, went downstairs, grabbed a bowl of cereal because they didn't have the full breakfast. They just had like a continental breakfast. Ate my cereal, and he's sitting there like over my shoulder the whole time, like, we got to go. Like, you know, can you eat faster? We got to go. And I'm like, dude, relax. We still have like 3 hours to drive 100 miles. You'll be fine. So we get, well, he calls the moving company first thing that morning, and he's like, hey, just want to let you guys know that we're probably going to be earlier, so if you could show up at 11 instead of 12, that'd be great. And I'm like, dude, seriously? Like, you are killing any window we have for anything to go wrong. Any kind of traffic, any kind of tire blowout, any kind of truck making an error. You are ruining our ability to do this. That trail's still closed, so we'll go this way. This is the way I had to come down because that trail was closed. I was kind of hoping. I was thinking it's later than it is. It's only 2:10. So, yeah, so we... And the other thing that was annoying the crap out of me, I mean, I was ready to grab his damn phone and throw it out the fucking window. Pardon my French. So... every day, everything we did, it was Siri, do this, Siri, do that, Siri, Siri, Siri. And he's like, Siri, directions to, you know, this new town he's living in. Not the address, just the new town. Because the town is small. It's like 2,000 people. Maybe 2,000 people. So... you know, like, he's always like, well, Siri's telling me to go this way. I know the highway says, you know, this way, but Siri's telling me to get off the highway and go this way. Siri's telling me to do this. Siri's telling us to go this way. Siri is telling us. And I'm like, dude, I don't care what Siri says. Like, we are going east. And then when we hit Asheville, we are going south. Now, which way we take from Asheville is up in the air. But I don't need Siri telling me which way to go. Because he had already done this a couple times where he's like, Siri says we need to be on this interstate. Siri says we need to get on this interstate. Siri says we need to get on this interstate. And I'm like, dude, we are on that interstate. I don't know what your problem is. Well, no. Siri says we have to get on it. I'm like, we're already on it. So we were on Interstate 24 out of Southern Illinois. And he's like, yeah, he's sitting there, we're on, sorry, I'm trying to reach for the turn thing. There we go. Or the cross thing, not the turn thing. He's like, Siri says we have to get on the 24. And he's from Southern California, so everything's the 24. And I'm like, we're on 24. And he goes, no, Siri says we have to turn on 24. And I'm like, we're on 24. Well, Siri says we have to get on it. And I'm like, dude, see that sign right there? We're already on it. I know what I'm doing. He's like, then why is Siri telling me we have to get on it? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. It's your stupid robot. Like, I don't know what the heck, why Siri's telling you to do certain things. So we get to closer within Myrtle Beach area, which is why we had to come through South Carolina to get to Myrtle Beach. Because he bought a house just like 20 miles north of Myrtle Beach. So we get there. And he's like, Siri, take us to this address. And Siri's like, I can't find that address. And he's like, Siri, take us to this address. And Siri tells him, I can't find that address. And he's like, I don't know why Siri can't find the address. And I'm like, maybe because it's a brand new build and your address isn't in the system yet. He's like, then how do we get there? And I'm like, you were just here a few weeks ago. You're really trying to tell me you don't remember how to get here? He's like, no. So he gives the address to the clubhouse because they bought a house in a community. And he's like, once we're there, I'll know how to get there. So he gives Siri the address to the clubhouse, and Siri plots a course. And he's like, I don't know why Siri is telling us to go this way instead of that way. And I'm like, me neither. He goes, so I guess we just follow Siri. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because that's the way we got to go. And I'm like, we can go any way that gets us there. We don't have to do it one way because a computer told you to. He's like, and then he's like, well, but you know, Siri might be accounting for traffic or wreck or something. And I said, maybe. Check it. Does it tell you if it's counting for a wreck or traffic or anything? He's like, well, I don't know how to do that. So Siri sends us a specific way. Oops, on your left. Siri sends us a particular way, and the whole time he's going, why is it sending us this way? I barely even know where we're at. Why is it sending us this way? Like, this is so far out of the way. Why are we going this way? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. It's your stupid app. I don't use these things. I read a map. I know how to read a map. So I don't know why Siri's sending us this way, and I don't know why you're freaking out about it. He goes, but we might not be there at 11 o'clock if it's sending us the long way around. And I'm like, well, whose fault was it then for changing the time for these guys to show up? Like, it's that simple. Like, you did not build in any safety net, and now you're freaking out because you don't have a safety net. Because Siri's not telling you to go the most expedient way. It's telling you to go whatever way it wants you to go. So, but he kept doing this. Like, we get to the neighborhood, we pull in, we get to his house, and he's on the phone with the movers, and they're saying, hey, can you send us a pin of where you're at? And he goes, Siri, send a pin. Siri, send a pin. Siri, send a pin. And Siri keeps telling him, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Siri, send a map pin. Siri, send my location. And the guy's on the phone, because he's doing this while the guy's on the phone, on speakerphone, so the guy's hearing the whole thing. And I'm just standing there going, why don't you just freaking open up another app and type it in? I didn't say that to him because, keep in mind, this guy's 7-8 years older than me. Like, you know, he lives in this $1 million house that you can almost see from where we're at right now. You know, he's the one that's got connections all over the world and, you know, has owned businesses and blah, blah, blah. But he's sitting there, he can't give people directions. Are you kidding me? So yeah, not the house is straight ahead, but in that general vicinity. You can actually, yeah, you can. I know from over here, because you can sit on their back deck and see this firefighters training area straight ahead. So I know, like, I know which house is theirs. I know what to look for. But yeah, they live right over here. Their house, they're putting it on the market for $930,000. You know, they bought it for like $400,000, so they're hoping to make some money. But that being said, excuse me, like I can see their house now. I'm not going to show you which one until they're closer to moving out. But yeah, but you can sit on their deck and see all of this. So yeah, he and the guy's on the phone, the mover. He's like, "Why don't you just send me a Waze location?" And he's like, "I don't know what Waze is." And I'm like, "It's another navigation app like Google Maps or anything else. Some people use it, some people prefer it over Google." And he's like, "Well, I don't know how to do that." And I'm like, "Then just send him a pin. Just open up Google Maps and send him a pin." He's like, "Siri, send a pin." And I'm like, "Seriously, dude? Seriously? Oh, hey, puppy, what's up? Did you have fun in the water?" Sorry, that dog was wet. So yeah, it was very frustrating. And finally I said, just send him a damn screenshot then. Because the guy said, you know, "Can you send me a screenshot? Can you send me a screenshot? We can find it because we know the area if you just send us a screenshot." And he's like, "Siri, send a screenshot. Siri, send a screenshot of my location. Siri, send a screenshot of a map showing my location." And Siri's like, "I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is." You know, unable to send screenshot. And I'm like, "Dude, just take a screenshot and send it. I mean, it's not rocket science." And he's looking at me like I'm being mean or rude or whatever. And I'm like, these guys are trying to get here to help you on short notice. And you can't send that. You can't be bothered to open up a freaking app and type on your phone. You have to do everything verbally. Are you kidding? And even when it's not even working, are you kidding me? So yeah, I'm like, it doesn't need to be this hard. Holy crap. So I actually, at that point, I pulled out my phone. I took I put a pin in the map, in Google Maps, and I shared that location with him. I sent it to him on a text message, and I said, "Here, just send this to them. They will be able to get here." And he's like, "Well, I don't know how to do that." And I'm like, "You don't know how to send a text message? You don't know how to copy a text message or forward a text message? Are you kidding me?" So, yeah, it was very annoying. And that wasn't even like the most annoying thing. There was a couple days later, we're in and out of the house and stuff, blah, blah, blah. His wife knows somebody from here, not this town, but from this area, who has parents that live in the same small town that they just bought a house in. So the parents were eager to host us for dinner, eager to have us come over for dinner. He didn't want to go, I didn't want to go, but the wife made the arrangements, and it's like, yeah, sure, we'll go over and say hi. They were extremely nice, extremely accommodating, but we're leaving his house. And again, this is a small town. It should have been less than a 5-minute drive to get to their location, because they were literally on the other side of a wooded area. So you couldn't go through the wooded area because it was woods, but you just go out of their neighborhood, turn left, go down to the end of the street, turn right, go to the end of the street, turn right, come back around, and that's where they lived. It was like 1.7 miles away. It should have been a 5-minute drive. But no, we have a rental car. He gets in the rental car and he goes, Siri, directions to this address. And Siri took us in a 15-minute route. Took us all around the whole freaking town. And it's like, and even the people, when we showed up, they're like, did you get lost? And he's like, well, we followed Siri. They're like, yeah, because it only should have been like a 5-minute drive for you. Like, all you had to do was come out to the main road, take a right, go down like 2 lights and take a right. And you would have like come straight to our house, because we're on the main road in the neighborhood. And he's like, well, we just followed Siri. And I'm like, stop freaking following Siri. Are you kidding me with this? Even when we were leaving, our last day there, we stopped and had breakfast on the way to the airport, because we had to return the rental car to the airport. So we had to stopped and had breakfast. We stopped at a gas station to fill the car up. And we're sitting at the gas station, and he goes, Siri, location or directions to the airport. And Siri's like, okay, directions are as follows. It is approximately 1 hour away. And we're like, and he's like, no, it shouldn't be an hour away. And I said, well, let me see. I pulled out my phone. I pulled up Google Maps. I saw where we were. And I saw the airport was literally 2 blocks away. And I was like, yeah, we leave the gas station, we take a right, we go down 2 streetlights, and then we take a right and we'll be at the airport. He's like, then why is Siri taking us the long way? And I'm like, I don't know, dude, it's your stupid app. Like, I don't know why you haven't figured out yet not to listen to what Siri says. Because she doesn't tell you anything reasonable. Like, you would have followed Siri for an hour instead of looking at a map. Like, just it blows my mind. Are you freaking kidding me with this? So, and there was a bunch of other little things. Like, we got to the house, and it's a brand new house, brand new build. Like, they are the first people to live there. They are the first people to everything. So, you had to have the builder come by and fix a couple of little things that were missed, because they did a remote and walkthrough. So they had the realtor walk through with them on like FaceTime or whatever, so they could look at stuff. And they didn't really see the details of, like where paint splatter was, or, where this was like this and that was like that. Little things that just needed to be touched up or fixed or whatever real quick. But we get there, and his whole plan originally was, yeah, we're not even going to unload. I'm going to have the movers unload into the garage, and then when we move here in a couple of months, we'll bring everything in. Because they're going to move there officially in February, unofficially as soon as they sell their house here. So whichever comes first. And they're trying to get their house on the market in the wintertime. Wintertime's not a big home selling time. And I told him that. I was like, it's not going to get as many bites. He's like, yeah, but somebody might want it. And I'm like, yeah, somebody might want it. But most people aren't looking to move in the wintertime. It's just not how it's done. Your realtor should have explained that to you. He's like, well, yeah, she mentioned that. And I was like, okay. So I don't know why you think if you put your house on the market, it's going to sell that week. He's like, well, it may not. It may take a month. I'm like, it may take 6 months. You don't know. Like, you may end up paying for 2 mortgages because your house isn't selling fast enough. But, you know, there's, like, so the movers show up, and, you know, I'm like, yeah, just unload everything into the garage, you know, because the only thing he wanted the movers to move into the house was the big stuff, like the couches, which they were adamant. He tried to give me one of the couches, and I was ready to take it. And then his wife said, no, we're going to take them both to the new house. And then they get there and set it up, and they're like, oh, this couch doesn't match the house. And I'm like, okay, so it's too late for you to give it to me now. But sure. I mean, you should have known your Rocky Mountain decor was not going to fit, you know, Southern Beach style. But whatever. But yeah, he, I mean, I knew he drank, and I knew sometimes, like, you know, at parties, birthday parties, or dinner parties or something, he'd have a few drinks. Sometimes he would get ridiculous and embarrassing, and you know, but I'm like, yeah, not my husband, not my house. But I didn't really realize how bad his drinking was, because the first night we're there, he's like, after we get the rental car, oh no, we're still in the truck, because we don't go get the rental car until the next day. He's like, yeah, let's swing by a liquor store and get a bottle of something. And I'm like, well, I don't really need to drink. I don't feel like drinking. He goes, no. Let's have a nice drink at the new house, you know, for a trip well done. And I was like, okay. So he buys the alcohol. We get Teeling small batch, which I've had before. It's excellent. It's a nice, smooth whiskey. I never have a headache from it. Never. So we get there, you know, he has to go to the dollar store, get a couple of, you know, really cheap glasses, because, I don't know, for some reason he didn't think he could drink out of Solo cups, which there was a whole sleeve of Solo cups there. But, yeah, so I have, like, 2 little drinks. I don't even think they were full, like, drinks. And then I excuse myself to go to bed because I'm tired. And I hear him up all night. Sounds like he's talking to somebody. I come downstairs the next morning. That bottle of whiskey is empty. He drank almost that whole bottle of whiskey. And then he had the audacity to tell me, he's like, oh, I thought you said it didn't give you a headache. And I'm like, it doesn't. He goes, then why do I have a hangover? And I'm like, maybe because you drank most of the frickin' bottle last night. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you just went from a mile high to sea level. Alcohol's not going to affect you. So I don't know if maybe he just drank until he felt it or what. But yeah, hey. But yeah, it was. And then the next day, he's like, well, let's get another bottle of something. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need to drink anymore. I don't want to. I don't feel like I ever need to. He's like, well, I'll just get me something then. And then every day he'd get himself a bottle of wine or something. And I'm like, dude, seriously? Like, you can't go a single day without drinking? And then he started getting on. He's like, well, the house isn't finished. There's nowhere to hang toilet paper. And I'm like, yeah, they probably left that for you guys to decide how you want to finish out your house. He's like, well, what are you going to do with the toilet paper? And I'm like, leave it on the back of the toilet. Or put it on the counter next to the toilet. Who cares? He goes, well, you can't do that. You can't just have it there. And I'm like, yeah, you can. He's like, no, you can't. And he's like, and I have nowhere to hang my towel. There's no towel holders. And I'm like, I don't know who's calling me. I was trying to read it. It's Mile High something, but I can't see it sideways. Anywho, I'll call them back if they leave a message. But yeah, I was like, hang it from the door, hang it from the shower stall, hang it, you know, from the countertop. Who cares, dude? You for the next couple of days, you're a single guy. You don't have to hang your towel from a towel holder. You hang it. And I even showed him, like, he came up to the spare bedroom that I was staying in, and I said, watch. And I grabbed a towel, and I hung it from the door. And I said, ta-da, towel hanger. And he's like, oh, I can't do that. I have to have an actual towel hanger. And I was like, seriously? So we ended up going to Lowe's, and he bought a couple of towel hangers and a couple of toilet paper roll thingies. The toilet paper roll thingies he bought were you attach them by double-sided sticky tape. You know, which as long as you don't put any weight on it or accidentally lean up against it, it should be fine. I mean, it's toilet paper, it's not that heavy. But the towel things, you know, people grab towels, they grab them pretty hard. So we're putting them up in the bathroom downstairs and the master bathroom. And I'm going over. I haven't hung anything in a long time, so I'm reading the directions left and right. And he's like, the directions aren't even for the towel holders. The directions are for this other thing. And I said, yeah, but the attachments will be the same. The attachments will affix, you know, whether it's that or this. It doesn't matter. He goes, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, you've been a homeowner for like 20 years. You've never put anything on the walls or anything. You've never done this? Seriously? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. So fast forward. Yeah, like I said, the whole thing was just absolutely, I was so frustrated. So we go and hang a towel holder in the bathroom downstairs, like the general bathroom, the generic bathroom. Okay, that's fine. And then we go into the master bathroom. I'm like, okay, where do you want these? And he says, how about right here? And I said, are you sure you want to go right here? And he goes, yeah, why not? And I said, well, because you have a shower door, and that shower door opens up over there. So he wanted to put them where the hinges are on that side of the door rather than the side of the door that actually opens. And I said, if you're taking a shower and you want to grab your towel, you want to open the door, reach out and grab your towel. You don't want to have to step out, walk around the shower door to grab your towel. So wouldn't it be better if you put it over here? And he goes, but then it's too close to the closet door. And then the towels might get in the way of shutting the door. And I was like, okay, then put the hangers on the door. Who cares? He's like, no, we'll just put them here. And I was like, okay, it's your house. And I told him, like, exactly. And I was like, I told him, I said, it's your house, and I don't have to deal with your wife when she decides she doesn't like it there. He's like, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. Well, the thing was, he didn't even buy matching stuff. Like, he bought everything in the house, all the hardware on, like, the cabinets and the doors and everything is all, like, this brushed nickel type. Maybe brushed pewter, but that kind of metal. And he bought all shiny chrome stainless steel stuff. And I'm like, I don't think she's going to like this. And he's like, no, it'll be fine. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm not the one who has to deal with her when she shows up and decides she doesn't like the way that you did it. He's like, it'll be okay. And I'm like, okay. So fast forward, we get him hung up and everything. And like, he's not measuring anything. He's just trying to eyeball it. And I was like, no, let's measure. Let's make sure it's centered. And let's make sure these are centered on each other. Let's do this. Let's do that. Blah, blah, blah. He was more concerned with grabbing an eraser and erasing the little pencil marks that I made to ensure everything was straight and aligned than he was with where these things were actually hung. And I'm just like, dude, seriously? Yeah, same thing on the way. Oh, and the whole time he wouldn't let me go like anywhere more than like 6 feet away from him without following me. So when we'd stop for lunch or dinner, I'm going to go use the restroom. Oh, okay, I'll come too. And I'm like, or you can sit here at the table and I can go have breakfast or go have lunch or go to the bathroom on my own. Like, I'm going to go do this. Oh, okay, I'll come with you. And I'm like, I'm trying to get away from you. I need some alone time because you're annoying the crap out of me. Like, and you sticking to my side like a lost puppy isn't helping. But he just kept doing it. And I'm like, dude, seriously? Anywho, it wasn't as frustrating as other trips have been when I've traveled with other people, but it was still, the guy lost a lot of esteem in my mind. Like, my perception of him changed a lot, and that bothers me because I always thought of him as a really good guy who was smart, knew his stuff, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, he can't do anything. Like a fish out of water. And I'm like, none of this is rocket science or out of the blue stuff. Like, this is like all random, like just normal stuff. You stay on the interstates when you cross the highway, unless you're like me, I get off the interstates, but that's me. I want to see more of America than just the interstates. But I knew we were in a hurry. The truck had a speed limiter, so we couldn't go above 70 miles an hour at all. And then it also had a speed sign. What are those things called? They're not called speed signs. Speed limit signs. It had a speed limit sign reader, so if it suddenly went to 55, the truck would not allow you to go more than 55. If it went to 35, the truck would not allow you to go more than 35. That's just, for some reason, that's how they had it. So that was annoying enough. But we stayed mostly on the interstates until we got to within like the last 30 miles of where he moving into. And then he's on the phone with his wife while the guys are unloading the truck. Because I'm like, yeah, just put everything in the garage except for the big stuff. Then he'll tell you where those go. And then everything they grabbed, he's like, well, let me call my wife and ask where this goes. Let me call my wife and ask where this goes. And I'm like, dude, what happened to just putting it all in the garage and you guys could unpack it and put it together when you guys moved in? He's like, well, no, there's no reason not to have them moving into the house. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, and his priorities just seemed off to me. Like, the priorities to me are getting the house ready to live in. And he was so busy trying to do like these minute details, like paying attention to the details instead of the forest, or paying attention to the leaves on the trees as opposed to the forest as a large. And I'm like, dude, like, and I even told his wife at one point. I was talking to her on the phone because, again, she and I are friends too. She actually called me earlier today, and I was like, I was talking to her, and I was like, yeah, I said his priorities just seem weird for somebody who is, he's so focused on these little things that mean nothing at this point, as opposed to the big things. Like, the guy he'd never closed the garage door. Like, the garage door to outside, the big lifting door that cars drive in, he closed that, but not the door to the garage. Like, the 3 days that we were there, he never closed the garage door. And I'm like, and I'm closing it all the time because, as I tried to explain to him, you're in the South now, there's going to be bugs. And it was the same temperature there as it is here right now. I was in shorts, t-shirts, and flip-flops the whole time we were there, and he's running the heat because he's like, I'm so cold. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not hot, or it's not cold. But he's running the heat, and he's got the door wide open. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, just stupid stuff like that. And then when we're leaving to get in the car to go to the airport, he actually walks out of the house with his bag and the keys and everything. And he walks out of the house, and he's just like, are you ready? Let's go. And I'm like, well, hold on. I had already gone through the upstairs and shut and locked all the windows. But he was just like walking out the door. He was ready to go. And I'm like, let's lock some frickin' doors and windows first. So I go through the downstairs. I didn't go through the master bedroom, for what that's worth. But I did go through like the living room, the kitchen, the dining room. I made sure all the windows were shut properly. I made sure they were all locked. The back door that he had just come through, the one out to the back patio, he left open and unlocked. And so I went over there and shut it and locked the door. And then he's like, what are you taking? And he's calling at me. He's like, what's taking so long? And I'm like, dude, you walked out of the house. You didn't even make sure the doors were shut and locked after you just told everybody down here that you met that you're not moving in until February. Are you kidding me? He's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Seriously? You didn't think about the fact that your house was going to be unlocked for the next 3 months? Seriously? He's like, well, it's a gated community. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You've seen the gates open more often than it's not. And all you have to do is pull up to the buzzer and say, I'm here to see this address, and they open right up for you. Like, and it's only gated from one direction. It's not gated from the other direction. Like, seriously with this? So fast. Yeah, he was getting on my nerves. And again, he's older than me. He's owned more houses than I have. He's more, he's been the CEO of a couple businesses, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how do you not think of these things? How do you not cover your bases? How do you not account for some of this little stuff? And he asked me, he's like, what do you think? Do you think my wife will like living down here? And I told him, I was like, no. I think she'll try, because I think that's your guys' agreement, is that she'll try for a year and see if she likes it. But I don't think it's the house she's not going to like, although you guys are moving from a 6,000 square foot house to a 2,500 square foot house. You're not going to be able to be separated by floors anymore, where you're in the basement and she's on the third floor or the second floor. You're going to be on top of each other. You know, they each took one of the spare bedrooms as their own offices, and the two offices they share a wall, and I think they're going to be hearing each other all the time because apparently he cannot have a call unless it's on speakerphone. And I think it's just going to drive her nuts being that close to him all the time. And I honestly don't think she's going to be able to handle the culture. It's a slower culture. We get to it when we get to it. Like, he was already getting frustrated because a couple of waitresses weren't waiting on him hand and foot. And I was like, dude, she'll be back. He's like, well, yeah, but I need a refill now, or I need this now. And I'm like, she'll be back. Like, you're in the South. Things take time. They're not all rush down here. He's like, but I need this. And I'm like, okay, she'll be back. Like, if you can't handle this, dude, and you're all kinds of Zen and, peaceful yogi, yoga stuff, blah, 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 she is not going to be able to handle it. I don't think she's going to enjoy living in the small town. Now, granted, and I told her this too when we got back. She asked me, she goes, well, now that you've seen it, do you think I'm going to enjoy it? And I said, no. Just flat out, no. I think as long as you're in the community, because it is a community of a couple thousand homes, I think you'll be fine. Because it's a golf community. They got a big clubhouse. Looks like a old school plantation. Apparently the clubhouse has a lot of events for the residents and stuff. There's like Zumba classes and yoga and tennis and pickleball and pools and weight rooms, and I guess they do a lot of stuff for the community because most of the community is older and retired. They may actually end up being one of the younger people to live in that community, and they're not quite 60 yet. So I said, as long as you're in the community, I think you'll be fine. I think once you need to leave the community and you need to go places, I don't think you're going to enjoy the Southern lifestyle that much. She's like, really? And I said, yeah, because it's Trump country. It really is. And you are not a Trump person. And the people will be nice to you because you're blonde hair and blue eyed. They'll be super nice to you. But you also have to understand, in the South, people are nice to you when they're being mean, and they're nice to you when they're being nice. And I don't think you know how to tell the difference. Pardon me. So yeah, little things like that. And I'm like, but yeah, give it a try. I mean, you guys are mostly homebodies anyway. You guys rarely ever go anywhere or do anything. I mean, she has a book club that she goes to, and she has a couple other little things like that, but it's not like she goes to work every day, or either one of them goes to work every day. It's not like they do this or that or whatever. It's, they're mostly at home unless they're going somewhere specific, like to the store. But yeah, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a change of pace for you for sure. But yeah, give it a year. I mean, I may be wrong. You may fall in love with it, because a lot of people, we met a few people that moved to the neighborhood from northeast United States, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, upstate New York, Connecticut, places like that. Maybe you will enjoy it. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll like the slower pace and the relaxed atmosphere. But honestly, I don't think you will. I really don't. So yeah, that was definitely a trip, and it was definitely something I'm not entirely sure I would ever do with him again. Because yeah, he was just like, he was on his mission and he did not care about anything else as long as his mission was met. And then he kept changing the conditions. That's the part that annoyed me the most. Aside from the Siri thing, is he kept changing the conditions. Oh, we're going to stop every night about 6 to 8. Okay. Nope, we stopped every night between 10:30 and midnight. Oh, I'm just going to have the movers move everything into the garage. Nope, he was on the phone with his wife, and everything they pulled off of the truck, he's like, where does this go, honey? Where does this go? Where does this go? Where does this go? And it's like, dude, if you don't know where it goes in your own house, then leave it in the garage, and you guys can put it away when she gets here. Like, it's that simple. Yeah. So, anywho. And then and like I said, the last couple of days were just kind of chilly and windy and stuff, so I didn't get any bike rides in. But thanks for coming along. I do appreciate it. I'm going to head back to my truck now, so I want you guys to have a great day, and we'll check up with you later.